Hello and welcome to this podcast, Half Hour with IID. My name is Ponsak Fanab, and of course, I have Mr. Ishaya Inuwa Durkwa. He's the Executive Director at International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice. Thank you for always, sir. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Pansa. Thank you.
Well, in case you're new to this podcast, it's about all the ideas that IID has to share with you, share with us rather about society, about what he thinks, about how society should be run, and what have you. Mr. Ishaya Inuwa Durkwa, you've been running an organization, international organization for peace building and social justice. There have been plethora of organizations they are into what you do. But what will you say should be the foundation that underpins an NGO that seeks to cause change in society, just like the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice?
I believe honesty should be at the foundation
I
of
think we should atomize it. So honesty, one.
honesty,
Yeah.
sincerity,
Sincerity, yeah.
compassion,
Compassion,
purpose.
purpose.
Yeah, these are some of the things we should be looking at that necessarily should be at the foundation of setting up an organization like ours. And the reason why these things are important is because intent is good. Why are you setting up the organization? How honest are you? Because people have set up things, but is to use it for their own gains, personal gains. There is nothing wrong with having gains, like salaries or means of livelihood.
It's very important.
Yeah, very important. But are you sincere about the goals and visions
And purpose, just
and
like
purpose
rightly
of
said.
setting up that organization? So that we are not setting up organizations at the expense of people. So we have at face value, prima facie value, people, but behind the scene is actually us. So you see people amassing wealth for themselves, it's against the people. And I can give you examples. When people get funded to take care of orphans or widows,
Yeah.
and they now use the money for themselves to build bigger houses that they don't need, and to drive cars that are very exotic and expensive as against these vulnerable, marginalized, helpless people that they claim to be working for. And these are things that every Nigerian, I mean, maybe that might be too much a statement, but many Nigerians know these are facts, these are truth that we contend with.
So, how does the organization contribute to nation building? So, for listener, for a bit of context, the organization is situated in Jos Plateau. We've had over 2 decades of ethno-religious violence that's plagued our city, pulling us back, and we're not where we ought to be. But what are some of the things that you have done, through this organization, International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice, to ensure that the goals and the aim, the vision of this organization is being felt by even the woman selling kose or the truck pusher in the market?
Yeah, so first is that here at the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice, we are working with 3 goals plus one. One is stop the killings. We've been advocating to stop the killings in Nigeria, yeah. So the killings going on in our nation was what called us to say, look, something must be done and must be done like yesterday. So stop the killings. And this we've been doing, advocating, talking with policy makers, talking with critical stakeholders in Nigeria to look at these things and determine and decide what must be done. Otherwise, this death that is killing people is going to be in everybody's house. And we have also advocated internationally, at different nations, calling on Nigerians in diaspora and getting them to even speak with their policymakers to put a demand on Nigeria's government to end the killings, because we believe that our government have what it takes to end the killings. But sometimes it takes the voice of civil society organizations like ours that serves as conscience of society to reawaken the government to their responsibility of giving welfare and security to her citizens to get up and begin to do what they need to do. So this we have been doing, and we've been doing it in different ways. We do research to check the assumptions or the presuppositions or the foundations or the root causes of crisis that are leading to these senseless killings. So we have done research. For example, we published a book called Nigeria's Silent Slaughter and its implication for the global community. In that book, you have a catalog of names. Actually, we want to raise a memorabilia on behalf of those people who have been killed. Names and locations and dates and actors that killed these people. And we have said that Nigerians are being killed. Now, when you put these 20 years, over 2 decades of killings in Nigeria, more Nigerians have died than anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Without an official war declared in Nigeria. Here's what I mean. If you put the Middle East together, Iran, Iraq, where we have some terrorist organizations fighting and killing, if you put the total number of people killed in those places, they are not up to the number of people that have been killed in Nigeria.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So we did a research on that. And the idea is to conscientize Nigerians to see that something must be done urgently, and we are working on that. Our second goal, apart from the first one is stop the killings, we are advocating for that. The second one is run an inclusive government. And by that we mean let a Nigerian be free to be a Nigerian, irrespective of his social class, his religion, his ethnicity, and all of that. For example, you're qualified for this task X, I call it. I will name it X. You are qualified, but because you are a Tarok person, they will say, no, we won't give it to Tarok person. Or because you are a Christian or a Muslim, they will say, no, we won't give it to you. No. We are saying, let's run an inclusive government. Every Nigerian must not be or should not be shortchanged because of his religion, ethnicity, gender, or whatever social class or status he or she bears. So we have been doing that. I don't know how far we've gone, but sincerely we've been doing that with the best of the abilities and resources that we have. The third thing we are working on is raise new leaders. And by this, we are saying that a leader is raised from amongst the people. And we have decided to deploy a strategy called bottom-top approach to leadership. And this is because we know that there are many leadership experts and leaders and coaches in Nigeria and schools where leadership are being taught. But these leadership trainings and teachings and seminars are always available to people who are in the elite class or in the corporate social world, or you are somewhere in life.
Yeah.
But when you go to what we call grassroots, like
That's
especially in slums, the bottom, where it's densely populated, because they don't have jobs, because they don't know people, they hardly have access to this kind of teachings. And yet, one of them, somehow, somewhere, is going to become a councillor, a local government chairman, or even a president tomorrow. And he or she would only lead with the principles and values that they have caught. So we said, let's begin a leadership training.
But
and this we've been doing.
Yeah, but do you think the family is important in this bottom-top approach that your organization is?
Certainly, family is important.
Okay.
And those who have heard me and those who have been close to the organization would know that we believe that family is even the foundation.
Yeah.
But right now where we are is that we must bring interventions that would help the family structured so that they begin to inculcate values to their children. But while we are doing this, on the one hand, we must, with the other hand, begin to engage these people who are products of families, but they are left to fend for themselves. Yeah. And they are just moving like in the jungle, learning whatever is learnable, and tomorrow they might become leaders and we're going to be in trouble. So, raise new leaders, and this raising new leaders, we are doing pragmatically. A lot of resources have gone into it. We have been training and retraining leaders. and we will continue to do that. The last one is climate action. We believe that there is a nexus in many ways between climate or global warming and different nomenclatures.
Or let's keep it at climate action.
Okay, climate action. So we are working on that, trying to conscientize people. One of the big things in our minds is if you fell a tree, you should replace it.
Replace it, yeah.
Yeah, and we should do something to contribute to the ecosystem. And this is in the purview of sustainable development.
Yeah.
Action today is going to affect generations to come. Let us not live as though we are an end in ourselves without looking at our children and great-grandchildren that would come tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, I know that you've been doing this work for some time now, but you need to share with us about some of the proven ways and strategies that you've seen and you've tested to promote peace and social justice in our country, in our society, especially that we're diverse. We have about 500 ethnic groups and 200 tribes and what have you. Share with us some of the proven strategies that you've used and is working for you and your organization to promote diversity and social justice.
Yeah, so we are working with young people across the nation. Right now we have youth ambassadors. We call them youth ambassadors for social justice. In all the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja, we have coordinators too.
All upon Nigeria?
Yeah.
Wow.
A male and a female coordinators in every state. We have regional coordinators, 12 of them, 2 per region, a male and a female. And they are mobilizing for local governments, and it's going to go like electoral structure towards. What we are doing is that we are doing the training of trainers. We are trying to get these coordinators to train the local government coordinators. Local government coordinators should train the ward coordinators. What we are doing is that we believe to mitigate the challenges that we have found ourselves, we must educate people, and that is what we are doing. People need to know the problems we are faced with. They need to know the history of the problems, and they need to know how to live together and how to solve the problems and live together. So these are the things we are committed to, and we believe this would mitigate the problems, and we are beginning to see signs of it. Why? Because youth are the people. Wherever you see crisis,
it's young persons.
Yeah. Wherever you see peace, it's young persons.
Young persons.
So we cannot go anywhere without getting these groupings of young people educated about the problems and educated on how to use the problems, to show them how they themselves are victims of the lack of social justice. Many of them are, because they don't have jobs, they are not employed, and tomorrow someone will come and incite them on the basis of religion, on the basis of ethnicity. So we are making them to understand that poverty does not select you because of your religion or ethnicity. Death will not separate you because you are a Mugabul or Ngas or Tarok, or because you are a Christian or Muslim. So we need to be careful. And we are teaching, training, and making them know that we live in a cooking pot. In a cooking pot, you have all the ingredients, the meat, the tomatoes, the maggi, and you keep stirring. Now it's a cauldron. All of us in Nigeria are in that cauldron.
Yeah.
God has willed it. So I'm appealing to my faith now. God has willed it.
Yeah.
That we have the traditionalists, we have the Muslim and the Christian.
Non-religious people.
Non-religious people. We have all of them. People with different ideologies. We must learn to cohabit. Otherwise, all of us are going to pay dearly for it, because you can never tell what monster will come out of lack of peace.
I'm happy that you are really working to solve the problem. But how big do you think is the issue of our diversity or social inequality? How big it is a problem in our society? Because a lot of time people don't really pay attention to social inequality. And then it brings a lot of issues, like even violence. I'll give you an example. In other societies, what the CEO and the gate man earns, the gap is not so wide. Because let the gate man and the CEO, they go to the same market to buy food, they have, they wear clothes, and they live in homes. But talk to us about how wide you think the issue of social inequality is in our society.
Is as wide as heads is.
Yeah.
is as wide as the ocean can be. Is as wide as anything you can imagine. In fact, there is a trending conversation now that Nigeria does not have a middle class.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so this is to tell you that it's a big gulf. It's massive. And it was you, maybe you would like to remind me, how much does a senator earn?
Well, they will always debate, but what is out in the press is 28 million, about 30 million.
Yeah, so you see, just the way you responded is even problematic for
Yeah.
me. Because I should be able to say a senator earns 25.
Yes.
There shouldn't be ambiguity about
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
It should be on public domain, right? Because that is transparency.
Yeah.
Now, if a senator earns 25 million monthly, how much does a level 13 worker in the civil service earns?
I don't know.
What is our national minimum wage?
Well, we're still debating, but as of today, it's 33,000.
How much is NLC advocating for?
250,000.
Now, compare 250 to 25 million. What is it? How wide is that gap?
It's a huge gap.
Okay. So that's where we are. And come to think of it, these people who are called civil servants that NLC is advocating for, those in working class, they do not constitute 30%
Yeah.
of the population in Nigeria. This tells you that there are about 70% of Nigerians that do not know what to do. They cannot tell you monthly I earn this. I have seen people earning 18,000 naira, 5,000 naira, and I'm asking myself, what will you do with that? Today, transport from my house to Old Airport Junction in the city where we live in Jos, you have to spend about 1,000 naira.
That's right.
To go, 1,000 naira to come back. That's 2,000. If you go to work 5 times a day, that's 10,000. If you go to work for 4 weeks, that's 40,000. And your salary is just like 45,000. Where are you going to get money to eat food? Where are you going to get money to pay for your medical bills? Where are you going to get money to pay for your basic human necessities? These are realities that we are faced with. And you have to look at these things to answer the question, how wide is the disparity inequality in our social class?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next question is marginalized communities and education. How will you want for the leaders or those in government to educate marginalized communities so that, because the quality of information that one has will inform the quality of decision that they will take, because it's from information that is available to a human being that will lead to the decision that they will make. But how, what are some of the ideas that you have and you would like to share with us, and how can marginalized communities be educated so that they can make informed and good decisions, even starting from their choices when it comes to leaders at the elections, or choice of nutrition, or any decision that they so wish to make?
You know, Nigeria is like you be given an elephant and asked to eat. When you put an elephant before me and you ask me to finish it, I'm asking you, where will I begin from?
That's right.
But as I grow older, I'm learning wisdom that I must take responsibility because it is before me. So I start eating it from the portion that is before me, in hope that I will be able to finish it, in hope that other people like me, like minds, will begin to rise, and together we'll begin to eat it. And at the end of the day, we'll finish eating it. So Nigeria is going to work. There is hope that this nation is going to work. Now, what we are doing from our organization is that we are creating awareness and teaching people on leadership, citizens' participation, on the problems, the ills from their roots and how to respond to it, and giving them hope to know that Nigeria is not only the nation that encountered problems. Many nations have had challenges to deal with. Even the United States of America, you need to go back in history, they had their own problems. Many people were killed. Do you understand? Now, so we would reset this nation. This nation is going to work. There is no point giving up on it. Giving up has not worked any solution, and so we shouldn't do that. However, we need to be intentional in creating awareness. Knowledge is power. What you don't know can deform you, and so it's important for people to know as little as the basics of selection, who to go for leadership for us is, as against appealing to primordial sentiments, right? So we need to do that, we need to think about that, but in doing it, we can only say most civil society organizations, that would be honest, should rise up and begin to fill those spaces, because if we wait for government to do it, we might not get anywhere. We are far from that. While we are appealing and we are waiting for government to take responsibility to do what is theirs, people need to take responsibility for these things and begin to mobilize for people to know, to have knowledge, to participate. And why am I talking about government like that? It's simple. We have National Orientation Agency that is supposed to be creating awareness for the citizens. How potent has that organization been? We have radio houses or televisions, media. Sometimes they are afraid to air certain things, because when you say something which is actually truth, objective truth, some person in power will think it's an affront on them because you are exposing the ills of the society, and by next time you will hear NBC sanctioning you. Yeah. And so people are afraid. So the media that act as, you know a bit about media, what are they called?
Regulators.
Regulators. So a media house is called the fourth
estate of the realm.
So, but they are silent in many ways because some people wouldn't like them to speak, to empower the minds of average Nigerian. And I will end with this. If you are able to keep people in ignorance, you can rule them perpetually. And that is why knowledge is important. Yeah. And we must make every effort to create awareness to help people to understand the issues and how to solve them.
Final question, what is your vision of a new Nigeria? Because you always, anywhere where people hear you talk or give a speech, you always talk about new Nigeria. What is that vision of
I see a new Nigeria that is a working system. A new Nigeria where you don't have to iron your clothes now because there is electricity, and by the next hour there won't be. You can get up anytime and iron your clothes because there is electricity. I see a new Nigeria where industries are functioning because running cost is not exorbitant. I see a new Nigeria where our hospitals are working and we are competing with any civilization in the world. I see a new Nigeria where our roads are not only good, but they are safe. You can travel any time of the day. I travel around the world, and one day we were going to travel. I thought it wouldn't happen. And my host, when it was 9 p.m., he said, let's go. This was from Wisconsin to Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan in the United States. 9 p.m., he said, let's go. I said, you and who? And it then dawned on me that there were no bandits on that road. There were no kids. I'm serious. That was how bad my mind is mad when you think of traveling in Nigeria. So I see a new Nigeria where our roads would be safe. People will travel. I see a new Nigeria where you don't have to know anyone for you to thrive, where the son of nobody would become somebody because he or she is qualified. I see a new Nigeria where the people are prospering. Muslims, Christians, and non-religious people are cohabiting and living together. I have experienced a little of it growing up in the city of Kano, where together with my Muslim friends, we were not talking religion. We eat together. We celebrate Salah together. We celebrate Christmas together. But some people came from wherever they emerged and made us to distrust each other. No, I see that new Nigeria coming together. I can tell you the vision I have for new Nigeria. It's a Nigeria where you can go to the school of your choice. And get admission, not because you know the VC, and you can pay your bills because there is credit for you. I see a new Nigeria where you can marry when you want to marry and not be stopped or hindered because you don't have money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Our global audience, this the much we'll have on this half hour with IID. That is Ishaya Inuwa Durkwa. Really interesting conversation with you, sir. Well, don't forget to follow all of our episodes on the website, ishayainuwa.com. Ishaya is spelled Ishayainuwa. Thank you and see you at the next episode.